Hi, I'm Billy, and I'm 16 years old. I live in Gloucester with my mum, my dad, and my 3 brothers. After watching loads of the incredible My Life documentaries, I decided I wanted to make my own, about my younger brother Alfie. Our whole family was turned upside down when Alfie was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, aged just 9. It was really hard to watch him go through it. By filming my brother's story, I want to show everyone what it's like to have diabetes. But I've got a lot of work to do. Making this documentary is like, is it going to turn out good? Are we going to have enough footage? Is it going to look okay? Yeah, you can turn the screen round so you can see.
That is genius. Whose idea was that?
Roll the titles. It's scary, It's scary looking at it. I actually didn't expect to have this much responsibility. I mean, it feels like now that the camera's actually here, I'm hoping I haven't bitten off more than I can chew. And you're gonna teach me what all the buttons do, yeah? Yeah. Phew. I'm actually hoping I'll be getting a lot of help from TV producer-director Sunny and researcher Michael. So here goes. There's Alfie.
4 years ago, my life was changed forever. I was drinking a lot more, feeling tired all the time. So my mum, who's a doctor, she did a couple of tests and found out that I had diabetes.
It was a steep learning curve for all of us and for the children as well, his brothers, to get used to having to think about his food all the time. It was a bit of a shock.
I remember lying in the bed while he was in hospital, and I was saying, what is diabetes? What does it mean? Because I just didn't know.
At the start, it was very confusing because I didn't really know very much about it, and obviously there was the really big shock, which was completely unreal, was finding out that I would have this for the rest of my life. I've had to learn all about diabetes to make this documentary. This is David, the graphic artist who's going to help make it easier to understand and bring me and Alfie to life.
My wife's a type 1 diabetic, so this is an interesting job for me.
Cue the animation. There are different types of diabetes, but we're just concentrating on type 1. Our digestive system breaks down food in our bodies. Most foods are converted into glucose, which is a type of sugar, and that goes into the bloodstream. One of the organs in our bodies is called the pancreas, and it produces a hormone called insulin. Insulin is the key that unlocks our cells to allow the glucose from our bloodstream to enter and give us energy. Because Alfie has type 1 diabetes, his pancreas doesn't produce any insulin. Without insulin, the glucose can't get into his cells, and instead it builds up in his bloodstream. This makes Alfie really tired, need the toilet a lot, constantly thirsty, and lose weight, among other problems.
Al?
Yeah?
What's your blood sugar?
11.8. It's a bit high, but I'm sure it'll be fine. My dad keeps on asking me, it's a bit annoying, but I probably would forget if he didn't ask me regularly.
So I'm just going to check my blood sugar in my room. This is Charlie, my diabetes bag, which I really take everywhere I go. So this continuous glucose monitor connects to my phone and checks the glucose hundreds and hundreds of times a day, every few minutes. And it sends the data, so I've got a continuous knowledge of what my blood sugar is, so I can know how much insulin to have. Because I've been eating today, it's going to go up now, but 6.1 is a really good level. So most people who don't actually have diabetes have blood sugar between 3.5 and 7, so 6.1 is really good. So I have a pod which is attached to me, and it contains the insulin, and I send basically how much insulin it needs from this machine. And I have to do this, every time I have a meal. several times a day, every single day. There's no rest, I can't just eat without it, there's no breaks, and it does get really frustrating.
Alfie can't survive without insulin, so it's really important he always checks his glucose levels and gives himself the correct amount of insulin. Before Alfie got his monitor, he used test strips to check his blood sugar level.
Test strips are like little plastic strips which you put a bit of blood on the end of them and then put them in a machine, and it tells you how much sugar is in your blood. So I use about 6 test strips a day, so 200 a month, and they're really important for knowing how much insulin you're going to need and keeping control of your blood sugar. I'm really lucky because I get all this kit on the NHS for free. But if I lived in another country and I didn't have the support of the NHS, then I might not even have survived the last 4 years.
That's why we've been raising money for a charity that runs a clinic in India, treating thousands of children with diabetes free of charge.
To get the word out and teach people and help people understand it better, and also to learn about how people possibly cope in India with type 1 is going to be really cool.
Alfie did a presentation all about it at school, and everyone decided to help us fundraise for the diabetes charity in India.
Billy, you need to swing a bit earlier.
And we cooked a giant Indian meal for all our neighbours.
We're using knockoff after eights from Poundland.
All this is to raise money for Life for a Child, which supports a diabetes clinic we're going to visit in the city of Bangalore in India.
So these are my diabetes supplies I'm taking to India. So a couple of things we've got to take is these, which is spare testing strips, which we've got about 1,000 of those spare insulin pumps, 2 clickers, medical tape, glucogel, a spare insulin pen, spare CGM, alcohol-free wipes. We need to have a ton of spare stuff in case one thing goes wrong. Billy, I think you need to go and pack now.
Okay, yeah, I'll go.
Was that good? I think it's going to be life-changing for Alfie, you know? He inspires me on the daily, I'd say. I could never cope. I could never cope with it.
What time is it now?
8:30.
What time are you leaving?
8:30.
Everyone's packed what they need in India, but Alfie's trying to smuggle in something extra. He's an addict. What is that? What's in there? What is it? Louder.
Tea bags.
He's taking tea bags. They make tea in India. You're like taking it back.
I love tea so much. I don't know if they'll have Yorkshire tea in India. So it seems quite unlikely.
See you in Bangalore.
Bye.
Alfie won't actually need to be without his favourite drink for too long, because before we head to Bangalore, we're surprising him with a trip to a tea plantation.
Wow. We're literally staying here in the middle of a ton of tea. It's going to be amazing.
So what do you think of this place, Alf?
It's paradise.
But paradise doesn't last long, because there's a big problem with Alfie's insulin.
We went down to the hotel to get the insulin out of the fridge where we'd asked them to put it. Unfortunately, they put it in the freezer and not the fridge. So all his insulin is frozen.
Once insulin has been frozen, it shouldn't be used.
Basically, all the insulin we have with us is unusable. It does feel a bit worrying.
So this morning we had a bit of a disaster, but luckily our researcher Michael came to the rescue a bit because he had some insulin because he has type 1 diabetes himself, and he let us use some of his insulin just to carry over. So, yeah, thank you, Michael.
That's quite all right, Alfie.
You saved the day.
This is Bangalore, one of the biggest cities in South India, and we head to the diabetes clinic we've raised money for.
Welcome to India, Bangalore.
Dr. Shri, who runs the diabetes clinic, is showing us around. He gives free treatment to children with diabetes and works with their parents to make sure they're in school too.
Alfie from England.
Education's really important so that when these kids grow up and become adults, they can pay for their own medical treatment.
What do you want to become when you grow up?
There's loads of people in here and they're all getting their insulin and syringes and strips and things.
Without being given free test strips and free insulin, many of these young patients could die.
In India, these children cannot afford strips. We could give only 30 strips a month.
Alfie used to use 200. Saying you get one test strip a day, but then Alfie, you always monitor, like every second you're monitoring.
It's kind of weird because I don't personally really think about how much I monitor every day. But here, they've got to think about, plan ahead for the whole month, how they're going to use each day's test strip, which is absolutely crazy.
If you start your treatment here as a child, you can carry on coming over the age of 18.
Has anyone got really ill, like been too low or too high?
Before 7 years back, I went too low, like sugar level was only 3.
Yeah, we go into like unconsciously.
Unconscious stage. My mother took me to the hospital, then the doctor gave some sugar mixed water. He fed me lightly, and my sugar level came to a normal stage.
So I have diabetes from past 7 years. Only that my parents are too worried. Doctors were just like, we can't say that whether she'll be alive or not.
Does anyone know anyone with diabetes who's maybe had a really bad experience with it or who hasn't got help?
Yeah, one person who came with us for trekking in the past 1 year back. He died before 3 months back due to some immense of, like, I just don't want to remember his.
Did you know him well?
Yeah, he was my trekking partner.
It was incredible to be kind of immersed in this experience of community and welcoming and love.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not only is everyone given free medicine, but they also get a free lunch.
Makes it go like this. Do like this. Take it with all your fingers. Push it with your thumb inside. That's it. That's great, yeah.
How fast is it, Alf?
India has one of the highest number of children with diabetes in the world.
How many children do you support at this centre?
3,500, 3,500 children.
How serious can it be if a child with type 1 doesn't get help?
How serious? They die. If there are 3 children in the family, the entire money is going to the child. So the other 2 children, their life becomes difficult to send them to school. They can't afford this. They sacrifice the child with diabetes so that at least the other 2 we care. People are important. See, you saw the crowded clinic today, but if they become sick, if they go to the hospital, it'll cost a lot. So the goal is to prevent them to become sick.
Thank you very much for talking with us, Dr. Shri.
You have such a beautiful clinic and it's so full of love. They didn't say like, oh, come and look at this. They were like, come and be a part of this.
Yeah, that's so nice. We were involved.
It ended up just being the most beautiful, fun-filled, love-filled day. I couldn't have predicted it. It's just the most amazing experience, but it's still so difficult. Obviously, Alfie's not really felt comfortable
talking about himself, his journey. He said, I'd love to talk about diabetes, but I don't want to talk about my journey. And maybe that's because he feels ashamed or he's scared that people will laugh at him. He doesn't say, I'm finding it hard to open up about myself or whatever. He just kind of suffers in silence.
How many carbs do you think it's going to be?
I've had 2 70.
70?
It's harder to guess the carbs in India because we don't really know how much sugar has gone into what, so it's been a bit all over the place, and it means Mum and Dad have to stay up checking me all night.
Do you wake up when they check you?
Not really.
Unlike many people with type 1 diabetes, Alfie doesn't wake up when his blood sugar level is too high or low, so Mum and Dad have to monitor him.
It's 2:45 and the alarm's just gone off in our room. Alfie's just been creeping up through the night and he's gone up now to 9.2, which is a bit high, and he's still going up. So we're going to do a correction, which means giving him a little bit more insulin through his pump. So we're just putting the number into the machine, keep monitoring him. So probably that will now come down in the next hour or so to a good level.
I don't really know how Mum and Dad do it every night, to be honest.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
We're driving into the countryside to visit 12-year-old Harshini, who we met at the clinic. Harshini's family are farmers, and once a month she goes on a 6-hour round bus trip to the diabetes clinic in Bangalore
Namaskara.
to get her free medication.
How long have you had diabetes?
How much you have completed to have diabetes?
For 4 years. How many times a day do you test your sugar?
In dinake ಎಷ್ಟು ಸತಿ ನಿನ್ನ sugar level check ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯಾ?
I test myself once a day. That's quite high. When you first got diabetes, and how did you find out? I had to go to the bathroom many times during the night, so my parents took me to the hospital for a check, and that's when they told me I had diabetes. I was 9 years old. When they told me, I got scared. I didn't know what my future would be made of. So why don't you go to a diabetes clinic, like, nearer to where you live? The medicine at the clinic is free, so that's why I travel so far. If we went to the hospital near my house, we'd have to pay for it, but we can't afford it. How much do you pay monthly for your medicine? In England, we have a health service, so it gets paid for by the government, so I don't have to pay anything.
Do you feel like your life would be different if you hadn't found the clinic?
If I didn't know about the clinic, I would be scared. I wouldn't know what to do in the future, how to treat it. I'd be so worried without the clinic. If it was me and I ran out of insulin, then I could just pop down to the pharmacy 10 minutes away. But in her case, she's 3 hours on a bus away. She can't really help having diabetes. It's not really fair, you know? It's like when the insulin got frozen and we were so far away, you know? I can just imagine if that was every single day, it would be crazy. It would be so scary.
Just the fear and the uncertainty is really... Do you think you could survive on one strip a day, Alf?
I just don't know if I could, because, I'm so dependent on the constant knowledge of what it is that I think I'd be so stressed if I didn't know. I just don't know how they do it. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
We're going to visit a lab where they're making test strips, weaving test strips out of silk so to make it a more affordable option.
Bangalore is the tech capital of India, and these inventors are trying to create a cheaper type of test strip made from silk.
So people have looked plastic and glass, and more recently at paper, but India has a big tradition of textiles. You can make large amounts of material with it. So even a few square meters of fabric could contain tens of thousands of strips. So you could make these strips both affordable and available to people that need them. Here we are. So this is the loom. This is the hand loom. All right. So this is like a beta version.
Since you've been doing this, I mean, people we've met at the clinic, this could change their lives.
So Alfie, would you like to try and weave some sensors yourself?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. Right foot on the right pedal first. Now you press the right foot down.
That's going down.
And then you
Okay.
pull it towards yourself. Okay, excellent.
So how many meters of this would you say you weave in about one day?
2 meters.
2 meters?
2 meters.
Wow. So that's quite hard work then, because I've been at it for about 2 minutes. I've done about 1/10 of a centimetre.
Think you're only going to go there?
No. I can see all these bits that have come off. That doesn't look too good. Ooh. Come on then, let me hold this. I'm quite a skilled cameraman.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
So you press the right foot hard. Yep, perfect. Oh, okay, maybe not, that's a little too hard.
Oh, how embarrassing. I've broken the looming machine.
Yeah, you need to be better, really. I don't know why Billy makes such a big deal out of filming. It's easy, piece of cake.
Great shot, Alfie. Let's get someone good on the cam, please.
I think overall what I'd say is the weavers of India, their jobs are secure.
Ouch! Oh my gosh. Okay. So is it better for the environment as well then?
Yeah, I mean, because we're using all mostly natural materials here, I think the amount of waste that we generate is obviously a lot less waste.
Yeah.
This is a tiny little memento for you.
Wow. Dhanyavad.
You're welcome.
This is contributing to a whole future of more affordable medicine, and not just for diabetes, but for everyone. Just drop the future.
Our last trip is to the outskirts of Bangalore. Sid, who we met at the clinic, has invited us to his home.
Welcome to my residency.
It's so good to see you again.
Me too. It's my honor.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. What about you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad,
This is quite different from the city.
Yeah, it's a rural area.
Yeah.
This is my mother and this is my house.
What's it called?
Kumkum. It's a traditional practice to avoid bad energy entering around us. This is my small palace.
It's lovely. It's really nice.
Me and mom and dad, we 3 people live over here.
So who sleeps where in the night?
Okay. During night, I sleep over here. My mother is gonna be here, and my father is gonna be aligned over this place, down.
On the floor.
On the floor.
So what do you think is the hardest thing about having diabetes?
Hardest thing, like if you go excursion or trips, outing with your friends, you can't take insulin around them. The people will stare at you. What's that you're taking? Like that.
You were saying at the weekend about you knew a friend who struggled with their diabetes.
During sickness, he couldn't able to take medicine by himself.
Yeah.
And I don't really know that his family background know how to provide insulin to him, how to treat him. I don't know. He didn't get the right precautions that is to be given, so that made him to lose his life. He was just 20 years old. He was studying B.Tech. He was a superb guy, Filmmaker guy. We lost a person, good person.
people don't realise how serious diabetes can be sometimes. With sharing that story of your friend, it'll maybe help some people to realise like,
Yes,
how
of
serious
course,
it can
of
be.
course, yeah.
What's this? What is this sound?
They are the fireworks, you can hear them.
Yeah.
They're already lighting the fireworks and burning the crackers around. This is the celebrating starting stage of Diwali. The richest festival of India.
Thank you so much.
I'm really happy with you people
You are a
coming
hero.
to my family. You guys are welcome always.
Bless you. And thank you so much for sharing.
Come back again.
We will.
Please. Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very
It's so
much.
nice to meet you. If there's anyone who doesn't deserve to have diabetes, it's you. He just helps other people so much. It just makes me feel really like I should help people more, you know. This is gonna stick with me. He is gonna stick with me. Oh wow.
Happy Diwali!
The atmosphere has just got electric. It's crazy.
We're so lucky to be in India for Diwali. It's the religious festival of light and is their biggest celebration of the year.
Look, I love those gold ones.
What a great end to the trip.
I've learnt so much. I mean, not just about kind of diabetes. I learnt other things that I didn't really expect, like about myself as well. Yes, before, I kind of thought that my story wasn't really that interesting. Kind of reminded me that I am going to have to become more independent, and I think I should prepare for that, and that's really inspired me to do that.
Hearing Sid as well, like the work he does.
Everyone at the clinic really had a smile on their face, and it just shows that it is possible to be happy no matter what is going on, really.
Love you so much.